Hey, Cassandra, how you doing?
I
Do you hear me?
cannot hear you. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
I'm trying to fix the sound. So the speakers. So my speakers are, yeah, it's coming out from my computer, and I have my microphone on. So why can't I hear you?
Can you hear me now?
That's me. I'm sorry. I don't know why I can't hear you.
Do you have any headphones?
Nothing. I cannot hear you for whatever reason. Can we chat or something? Can you hear me? Okay. I can't hear you at all. So I've just checked my sound, so I'm not sure what's happening. Sound system. Speakers is coming out properly. Device. Microphone seems to be working, so I'm not sure. What can I do?
Check the chat.
Nothing. Sure. I'm gonna leave and then come back again and see if that works. Right. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah. So what I did, I adjust the settings here. I should have done that, so I learned that.
Do you have headphones?
I can. Does that make a difference?
Yeah, you probably can hear me better with headphones. Shout out
Okay.
yeah.
I
And
don't have those type of headphones for this laptop, so but I can hear you perfectly. Everything's fine.
all right, you can hear me perfectly. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you okay? Yeah, 1 second. Let me check my Twitch page real quick. Make sure everything's live. YouTube is up. Facebook is up. Okay. All right, we go live in 10 seconds. Here we go. What is up? What is up, everybody? You're alive, and you're now tuned into the hottest podcast in the world, the Saucy Conversations. This is season 4, episode 14, and I got a special guest in the house today. But before I get to my special guest, I want to send a special shout out to our sponsors for today's episode, which is Click A Vodka. Make sure you go support Click A Vodka. The link is below. They can actually ship it to your house, and also you can mix Click A Vodka with any of your favorite juices or drinks, or you could, if you gangster like that, you could drink it straight. It's nice and smooth for you, but Here at Sauce Conversations, we have a drink called the Saucy Conversation, and that's taking your favorite lemonade and mixing it with Click A vodka. All right, so make sure you get your favorite lemonade, whether it's raspberry, whether it was pink lemonade, whether it's blueberry, whatever, and mix that with the Click A vodka, and that's what we call the Sauce Conversation. And also, shout out to our other sponsor for today's episode, which is Holistic Remedies, body butters, they got CBD oils and everything. It's a black owned company, so make sure you go support them as well. And also, don't forget to use that promo code HR Me Saucy, and you get 10% off. Again, that's HR Me Saucy, and you get 10% off at checkout. Okay. My favorite body cream is that it's bubblegum berry. So make sure you go get that bubblegum berry for the body creams and all that. It's cold outside, so as a colored people, you don't want to be ashy outside. So the body cream actually moisturize your hands, and also dealing with this pandemic. Also, depending on hand sanitizer and everything, your hands be all dried out and everything. So make sure you go get you some of that body cream from Holistic Remedy. Support black businesses. Shout out to my co-host that's going to be here today. Shout out to Mac, Dad, for niece. Um, uh, Appreciate you for always being down with me, and also we got a lot of things coming up in the future. We got our own streaming network coming soon. I aim it towards the summer, maybe fall. My server is actually ready, so a lot of y'all been asking about when we dropping the network. It's gonna be a 24/7 streaming network, and if you'd like to be a part of it, like to have the podcast a part of it, where you do short films, documentaries. We have a great roster we putting together, and basically we're gonna be using other content creators, content on our network as well, giving them a platform to show their talents. And if you'd like to be a part of it, hit me up at Saucy Nation TV 22 at gmail.com. So on today's episode, we have a special guest. There's a lot to pack in this whole hour. This beautiful lady is from the UK. I know in the UK it's kind of late, so I appreciate you for being on the show. And Saucy Nation, I would like to welcome Kassandra Lauren Gordon to the show. How you doing today?
Thank you for the applause. I was just baking it all in. No, I'm really, really good. I'm so happy that I'm on your platform. Thank you so much. I'm really, really good.
Thank you for thank you again for once being on the show. I know it's late over there in the UK. It's like 1 in the morning, correct?
It is. It is.
I know, but I appreciate
Yeah,
you
it's fine.
for
It's fine.
saying.
It's all good. It's all love. Hmm.
So Cassandra, we got a lot to pack in this hour. Let's just start with the beginnings, the humble beginnings. Tell Association, where did you grow up? Where How was the household? You got any siblings, anything like that?
Okay, so when people ask me about my beginnings, it's like, oh, it's a long. So I'm going to try to be succinct. So how I try to tackle this question is like, how did me as a black woman end up in England? And that's a bit of a complicated past due to my parents are Jamaican.
Oh, okay. Wow,
Jamaica
wow.
was yeah, well, was a British colony. So in the 60s and 50s, after the World War, they asked a lot of people from the ex-British colonies to come over to help Britain to be great. So therefore, my grandparents came over first, and then they sent for my mum and dad, and then I was born here. So that's how I end up, because a lot of Americans ask me like, "How are you British and black?" And so I just wanted just to clear that up. And that's what happened. So I grew up with like my siblings, got one brother, and yeah, it's yeah. And then I moved in different places. So I don't know. Have you been to the UK before, or London, or no?
No, I never been. I do want to go because a lot of my roots is over there as well.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So,
Yeah.
now I live in London, which is the capital, but before I lived in like the second city, like called Birmingham. So yeah, that's how my beginnings start. Yeah.
Yeah. My last name is actually Owsley, so that's actually a British name.
Hmm.
So that's how we got that last name Owsley. But when I say about roots and everything, I'm also an Israelite. So there's a lot of Israelite roots in the UK, dealing with King James himself. So in that whole era, black British kings just ruling the world and everything. So there's a lot of roots over there. But yeah, so tell us about growing up in the UK, and how was it very difficult being how hard was it to adjust of growing up in the UK and also being first a black young girl and also growing into a black woman growing up in the UK.
So it's different. So it depends where you live. So I didn't live. So I would say the London experience of the UK is different to every other part of the UK because I grew up outside of London, about 100 miles north of London. It was quite different and it's not as multicultural when it was in the 90s or the early um, 2000s. So even though I did say I did live in Birmingham for a bit of my childhood, my main adolescence or when I became a teenager was when I stayed in Coventry. So you might have heard of Lady Godiva, that type of stuff. So Coventry was not as multicultural. So, getting to school was tough. Girls, you want to beat me up because I was black. And the teachers just turn a blind eye. I go to school, everyone's calling me the N word. It was just not a great environment, to be fair, growing up. But it's changed now. Years later, it's really, really very multicultural and people very accepting of black people. But you just got to roll with it. You just got to roll with it. You just don't have that victim mentality. You just got to know that you just got to get what you need to get done and just try to be positive and just problem solve what you need to problem solve.
Right, right. How much of that what you went through of kids calling you the N word and everything, or adults as well? Was it adults as well, or just in school with kids or
Yeah,
being
if I was in the town center, like me, my mom, and my brother, we couldn't get on buses because people were just really rude, and so yeah, it happened. It's lesser now. I mean, lesser now, but when growing up, it was a lot. Even me and my brother went to the park. They wouldn't let me. They didn't want us to even go into the park and try to threaten me and my brother. So yeah, it was quite a lot. It was a lot of racial tension and stuff. Being not a few of the black families living in Coventry in the late 90s and the early 2000s.
right? And I know that's not ordinary for a environment for a kid to grow up in. I know that's a lot and a lot of restrictions that you have to present yourself in a certain way, not to be, so aggressive, not to match that energy with the evil energy of people just being ignorant and stuff like that. How much of that, I don't want to call it trauma, but how much of that racism of you growing up, did you later on in life, did you have to go through, how much of that affected your mental health?
I mean, it varies. So, I guess our American cousins, when think about racism, some of it's very overt. It's in your face, stuff like George Floyd, and it's there. In England, it's a bit sometimes a bit covert. Sometimes British people don't always say what they want to say. They try to hide it or do things, not how you have access to things or say certain things to make you feel away.
Right.
So I guess just like anyone who suffers discrimination, it weighs on them. And I think there's a lot of similarities with our American cousins or African American cousins where, hair, microaggression, like misogynoir. We talked about, the Jada Smith things which are happening with the slap and what happened to Jada Pinkett Smith being humiliated on a national stage. Those things kind of affect me because like our black women lives and their hair really looked upon in a cultural setting and really really been respected and stuff like that. So yeah, I think there's just very very much similarities. The only thing for me, a big difference, I guess, with racism in the UK, because people don't really own, are not really supposed to own guns. There's a lot of stop and searches. There's a lot of police harassment, especially with black boys or black men.
Yes.
But no one's an officer is very unlikely to go and shoot somebody. It has happened, but it's very very low. But if you're brown or black, you're more likely to die in police custody. So it's similar, but it's different.
Gotcha. There's different roles to it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, while going through that, how did you escape reality during that time? What did you do? Did you what were you was really what was your hobbies? What were you into? Was you into reading? Was you into music? What did you do to escape from dealing with that type of negative energy growing up as a child and now as well?
Um, Thank you for asking me that. So it's a timely time now. Wrestling, professional wrestling. I
What?
didn't do it. Yeah, I was a big WWE fan. Like the WWE have a big following in the
Get out of
UK.
here.
Yeah, big fan because
I'm a big wrestling fan.
yeah, so it's an English speaking, so wrestling is very well, especially in the Attitude Era, like height.
Attitude era, yeah, yeah.
So it still is now. I've seen before lockdown. I saw like Raw come to like the O2 London. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's still loved. It's not like popping like it was like in the Attitude Era, but it's still yeah, people in the UK still love wrestling. Yeah. So yeah, wrestling. I used to like wrestling. I used to escape in wrestling a lot. Um, I didn't get to do much as an adolescent because there's nowhere to go. Because there's nowhere to go. You can't go to bars. You can't escape. You don't have no money. You live on your parents. So yeah, wrestling was a big part of my life, especially as a teenager, and also music as well. Used to just bury my head in music.
Who was your favorite wrestlers growing up?
Oh gosh, I can list. I don't have. I have favorites, but if I have to pick one, The Rock. I love Eddie
Okay.
Guerrero. It's you're asking me at different times of my life. So
Right, right.
so WCW, like DDP, Booker T, like then when they had that invasion angle, they came over to WWE.
The
So I like some of the
NWO, yeah,
wrestlers then.
yeah.
Um, as I get older, I was I left it alone. I went to university, left it alone, and then years later, when I knew the women were getting more time and were respected as more as athletes in wrestling, the woman
Right,
revolution, whatever that was, I started to watch it more. So I love like watching, especially more black wrestlers, because only when I was growing up, the only black female wrestler I knew was Jacqueline, and she didn't have much airtime, and she was losing
right.
all the time. That was really
Absolutely.
annoying.
Hmm.
So now you see, like, I'm a casual-ish fan. I might watch WrestleMania. I have what's the word? I love and hate relationship with wrestling. So it's like I'm so thankful. It's like an abusive kind of boyfriend kind of like situation. Like I'm very grateful for wrestling of what they did to me, what they did for me when I was a kid. But watching some of how they move, yeah, and knowing the past of like some wrestlers have really racist histories. There's a lot of like misogyny, and wrestling is just like the way how sometimes Vince McMahon makes his decisions and all this kind of stuff. It really makes you think, oh, do I as an adult fully ethically support this this company? Most companies have good and bad, but once it's brought into the light what's been happening, I occasionally watch it, so I'm still bonded to it a little bit, but I feel like it's come a long way, and it's there for people, and it was there for me in my adolescence. So I'll be grateful for that. But watching wrestling 20 years ago, watching like some of it's so dated,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have the network on Peacock?
I know this is live. I don't want to come for me, but I'm not. But I find ways of watching it. Perhaps on TikTok, perhaps not.
Right, right, right.
We will find a way. We always find a way to watch what we need to watch.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, I grew up a big wrestling fan. Starting with like the golden era, I was a big Hulk Hogan fan, Hulkamania, Ric Flair. Those are my top two guys of all time.
Even
Uh,
now.
Even now, those
Oh,
are it's not one and two. They, both of them are 1-1 with me. Yeah, I can't pick one over the other.
see, this is the thing. Like, I would never take away people's childhood heroes.
Mm.
See, there's always this kind of argument with musicians, or debate even, like, do you separate the artists from the music? I mean, do you separate the human from the music or the artist? And sometimes with wrestlers, what you see on stage is them, but just turned up by 10. So when I hear things with Hulk Hogan, and I'm trying to give people grace because we're all human, but when I keep on hearing things about Hogan, what he did, and what Ric Flair has been doing back in the day, and it's just not one occurrence, and I can't look at them in the same light. But I know people really like. I've been out of wrestling groups. Like, they will say something about another wrestler. Oh, that wrestler should be cancelled. But Ric Flair is untouchable. Hulk Hogan somehow is untouchable. Vince
Right.
McMahon sometimes untouchable. I'm just like, you can't cancel one person and not in wrestling and have a go at them if you're not going to look at the greats, or the established ones.
No, I get what you're saying. I totally. Well, me, I totally separate the two. I totally was upset when that tape came out with Hogan. Was very upset, saying the N word, and during that time, his daughter was actually dating a black man, and stuff like that. So I try to separate the two, but at the same time, I don't forget. When it comes to Ric Flair, all the stories you hear back in the day, and all the sexual harassment and stuff like that, I try to separate that. Me, when it's wrestling, is wrestling. Um, Anything they do behind the scenes, I'm not saying it's none of my business, but they have at the end of the day, they have to deal with that. That guilt if they have, the Lord is going to find a way for them to deal with that guilt. So I mean,
You're a
I try
better
to
person
separate.
than me. You're a better person than me. I'm
I
like,
try to separate
no.
the two.
And as I said, I'm all in for people to have second chances. Just like referencing, talking about Will Smith. Don't condone violence. I love wrestling. Wrestling is its own art form. Let's just don't get it
Right,
twisted.
right.
But I believe people should have grace and stuff like that. But when there's no proper accountability for what they've done, and so you know what, it was over. It was, if they said to me, it was the '80s, but I think I think I thought about it now, and I just think like they just don't. Some of them just don't care. They can get away with it. They've got such a big fan group. They'll
And
cool off
also,
for a
yeah,
while, get off the wrestling website, WWE website, come back on, be a Hall of Fame, and just, no, you can't do that. And Gen Z's, like, people are like generation below us, they're not gonna let you get away with it. They will find the footage. They're not gonna, and it's just like like, how many of these lovely childhood wrestling heroes can I take when they've done something a bit
no,
morally not
yeah,
great?
yeah. I totally agree with you. Like even going with the whole Bill Cosby thing. Growing up, that was he was voted America's dad, and for him to have these allegations come out so many odd years later. Me personally about Bill Cosby, the one thing that we actually all know as society, he cheated on his wife. We all know that. Okay, that's just plain out in the open. But some of these stories, when you hear these women, some of them come out and say that, oh, he drugged me, and he raped me and stuff like that. This was a well-known married man, and the first thing they said out their mouth, oh, I went to the room with him. So you went to the room with him, knowing that he's a well-known married man. See, that's my issue. To me, it was all about money.
It's a hard thing, isn't it? Because we weren't there. It's just like, but it's really. I hear you. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. It's such a tricky thing where who to believe. So many gaps in people's stories. Memory plays a part. But something where there's smoke, there's fire, isn't it? So unfortunately, people have to be, accountable for their actions in some way, and recognize the privileges of being a celebrity sometimes, and not to abuse that kind of privileges or good things or good benefits what they get. But yeah, wrestling, I might watch it this WrestleMania. I'm gonna try keep tabs on like Bianca Belair and Naomi.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if you do you still watch it now?
yeah. I still watch
Wrestling.
it. I keep up with it.
I just
Some
don't know what I have this theory, right? I'm sorry, you probably don't want to talk about wrestling all the time. It's like I
I be
think her
good.
husband, is it Jay Uso? Husband? Well, is it Jay or Jimmy? I can't remember. One of the two.
It's
Jimmy.
Jimmy's wife. Yeah,
I think he must say to her, you can't do extreme matches. You can't do like the Charlotte Flair, go into it like a cage, do these moves. Because Naomi's been there since day one, whatever, long, yeah. Naomi could be easily number one top star, easily. When Sasha and Bailey did those kind of risky matches to get, 4 horsewomen, da da da.
yeah.
I'm like, why ever Naomi never get to do those high risk, high profile matches? Because there must be something where she doesn't feel comfortable or she's got a health condition. I don't understand why she was never put in those conversations and always in like Sasha's shadow or something like that when she's a bona fide athlete and star. And those type of things where you see the talent day in day out working like a workhorse and just get overlooked a lot, totally overlooked. So for me, Naomi should get a like Hall of Fame, because for people like Bianca Belair and the other black wrestlers or women wrestlers in out of WWE or not, she's so pivotal. And also Alicia Fox, right? Did I say it right?
Yep.
Alicia
Yeah,
Fox.
Alicia Fox. Like, she's retired, but she
Alicia,
come back time to
she's
time. Yeah.
retired. Yeah, like her. All right, she came in the diva era, but compared to all the divas, she was the most like superior. All right, and the reason why, and it just really upsets me. This is the thing. Like sometimes I try to suspend my belief. When you watch a movie, I try to suspend my belief. I try, I really do. But all these like Barbie dolls can't even skip to the mat, and Alicia can do all these really good cool moves, and she just get overlooked and just always like jobbing all the time. And I'm thinking as a black woman, like, how much time can Alicia job? You know what I mean?
Right. But
Where
yeah, but skills wise, when it comes to Naomi, now no, Naomi is the multi-time women's champion. She's a tag team champion. But when it comes to the wrestling business, it's all about putting butts in the seats. And when they put you as champion, right? They testing you to see, not testing her, but they looking at how much does she gross as a champion. Sasha Banks, she gross, meaning making the company money when she's
but
champion.
the way how she was booked, it's all about how you start and you're finished. Because when Sasha Banks came, she had the Charlotte Flair stuff, and she was booked, and she had a very good transition from NXT. Well, she loses her title. Long when she came, lose her title every 2 seconds and lost that bit of credibility. But still, it didn't really matter if she had the title or not, because she was still bankable, right?
Hmm.
So when she came, she was booked strong. You know what I mean? She came in, was champion soon, having all these legendary Iron Woman matches. They booked her strong. When Naomi came in, Funkadactyls, Dancy, Gimmicky, was just seen as the wife of the Usos, was on the Diva reality TV, which is fine. I like that. There's nothing wrong with it. And always losing to like Brie Bella and them lot. And it's like, you weren't booked strong. So if that's always in my memory, but you didn't even have your debut really strong, and you was one of the most talented people on that roster, it's really hard to come back, even for Alicia Fox. Like, I'm not saying she should come now. I'm not saying she's like the supreme wrestler, But when you just been losing and jobbing and your value, especially as a black wrestler or even as a talented wrestler, is not valued, just like any other wrestler, like Tyler Breeze or something like that, like any other wrestler, like if you're not seen as valued, they're just gonna job you. You can be the most talented person like Tyler Breeze, like, and you're still gonna be jobbed to death.
Yeah,
And
and
it's just unfortunate.
yeah, and there's also ring psychology as well. A lot of them are not good in the ring when it comes to the psychology point of it. Actually, like Charlotte Flair and them, and when it comes to Charlotte Flair and Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch and them, they call their own matches in the ring. And a lot of wrestlers, not just women, but a lot of men wrestlers as well. They don't have that psychological part of it. They don't have that talent, that it's factor, and also for them to actually um create their own matches, and also some of them, they get see Naomi's athletic, but when it comes to her with the ring psychology, she does not have it. You get what I'm saying?
Ooh, I don't think so. I think she's in like a stalemate of like Natalia. Very, did I say her name? I forget. See, I haven't
Natalia
wrestled in a
Hart.
while, so my
Yeah, Natalia
huh?
Hart. Natalia Bret Hart, niece.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm. It's slow. I used to know. I used to be slick. Super talented. So they use them as workhorses to bring up other talent. I feel like if they booked back in the day strong Natalia and Naomi properly as proper true threats and champions, they have more opportunities to have these high profile match. If they was given if the same opportunities and the same type of booking which Charlotte Flair had, I think it's about booking. I think they don't see that they value, as you said, bums on seats. Charlotte Flair off the dad's last name. I'm not saying Charlotte Flair's not a great wrestler. I'm not saying that. I will never take that away from her. She's a legit work hard wrestler. Like
Yeah,
she's amazing.
her gimmick
But
is very
imagine
easy though.
her name was huh?
Her gimmick is very easy because all she have to do is tap in her father gimmick, but
And
she
that's it.
has
And
the
she just go,
talent to do
woo.
that. But she has the Flair last name, and that was an easy gimmick to tap into. And plus, she's athletic as well. And also she has the ring psychology, so that's why they put her up
I
with.
know. I okay. I'm gonna respect your part. Okay. Ring psychology. I get it. Like Randy Savage, or people can like Undertaking can really craft a match.
Shawn
I
Michaels, those type of
Sean,
guys.
I get you 100%, but I think it's a melting pot of opportunity
Hmm.
and booking. And I feel like the producers, like most of them are like men. They grew up in the Attitude Era where I'm not trying to say everyone is racist in the WWE. I'm not saying that. But to me, watching it, sometimes wrestling back in the day, when I'm talking from Attitude Era day, was a microcosm or reflection of American society and how society saw different trends and different people.
Right.
And usually, look at the nation domination, how they saw that. All right, a black gimmick. Oh, Pan African. Or The Rock never claims he's African American son. We just go with Samoans. Samoans are the good minorities. And the Japanese, they just do certain things. They can't speak English well, but they get their money. All these stereotypes which the WWE have. Even look at
Yeah.
Booker T, how they used or misused Booker T. You know, and I remember once, like, I'm sorry, I don't want to tangent, but once, like,
No, no, go ahead.
Vince McMahon and Triple H was saying the N word or boy and using all these type of undertones, and I'm thinking they're uncomfortable as a teenager. Like, did they just do this? Or whenever other black wrestlers do crime time, I was like, or New Day. Okay, I don't know how you
That's
feel about
different.
New Day.
Yeah, that's different.
I love
That's
New
what,
Day. I love New Day. I do. I'm not gonna lie. The power of positivity when they first came out. I don't know the new storylines. Circa 2017
oh,
because I think
yeah,
that's when I came
yeah,
out.
yeah. They blew up way after that.
Okay,
They blew up.
say again. Sorry.
And I said they blew up. Like
Wait,
from when
what?
they
Yes,
started, when they
yeah.
started from the new day, they got cereal. They got all types of stuff. It's more
Yeah, they're
kitty.
living their life, off merch. And Kofi Kingston, I know just by his just listen going and then Biggie and did he change his name?
No,
Can you hear me?
it's still Big E. Yeah, you breaking up a little bit.
Sorry, I was just saying, Big E. No, can you hear me?
Hey, you know, go ahead. What's that, Big E?
Yeah, I was saying like Big E, right? Did he
Hmm.
change his name?
No, it's still Big E.
What's his name? Oh, Biggie.
It's still Big
No,
E.
so
Yeah.
no, was it last year? Yeah, last year he was champion, and I don't know why the internet just told me that, and I was like, oh, is he champion? Oh, let me look, and then whatever. So, but sometimes I think Vince McMahon likes these type of entertaining minstrel acts, and I'm just like, it still to me represents a bit of like, oh, if they're entertaining, can't really put them as serious wrestlers. Oh, joking and jiving, and I'm just like, I love you, the new day, but Xavier Woods is a talented wrestler, but they book him like he's not a talented wrestler. You know what I mean? He's just good for
Yeah, I
joking
get
and
you. I get what
jiving,
you're saying.
and
Yeah.
I don't know. I take the I'm just trying to love it for its art form. I'm trying, but I find it really hard knowing how much times Vince McMahon or or wrestling or the wrestling I love have done a lot of questionable things. So if you can guide me and give me some tips of how I can separate the art form and the storylines, because I think I love the business side, meaning like I love the behind the scenes now more than actually what actually happens sometimes in the ring. I feel like behind the curtain. It's really hard when you know all these true facts and you're just like, oh well, oh god, let's just pretend I didn't see that, or endorse comments like from Tommy Dreamer about certain things. So and people just, wow, he's an old guy, hardcore Tommy Dreamer. So please, can you let me know practically how I can still enjoy wrestling, knowing some of the good and the bad in that business.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great wrestling podcasts out there, and a lot of them go deep into the stories of their greatest moments and their baddest moments. And for similar with the New Day, they had their own podcast. I'm not sure they're still doing it, but they actually came up with that gimmick as well. It wasn't brung to
They
them
did.
because
No, it's true.
WWE, like, it was bad booking with all three of them, and the WWE didn't know what to do with them. So mostly with when it comes to wrestlers and the characters, most of those successful ones are actually successful because they being themselves. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin, he was the ringmaster and he was this pretty boy and stuff like that, but it wasn't him, and that's why he didn't get over. Once you start getting over, it was he was starting being the Stone Cold, drinking beer, kicking ass, and everything. That's when he actually blew up and became one of the greatest all time wrestlers. We're actually wrestling this weekend, coming back to wrestle Saturday. So
Who's he fighting?
he's fighting Kevin Owens.
Oh, I was gonna both stun each other to death. Okay, okay, right. Listen, yeah, listen, right. This
Exactly.
I know you didn't. I know I don't get. You know what? Sorry to talk about your podcast about wrestling, but I never
Now you
get to
good.
talk
You
about
good.
it.
We
I
talk about
never get to
everything
talk
here.
about it.
We talk about
Oh my
everything here.
goodness.
So
So sorry. Like I need to. I need to gently challenge you on your lovely, lovely platform, right? Let's go deep because about what you said about Stone Cold, right? Now,
Uh huh.
I didn't come here to talk about race, but I just cannot help it, right?
Yeah.
So, right, why was Stone Cold Steve Austin popular? Look at the demographic of usual American or North American wrestling fans, right?
Uh huh.
Stone Cold is usually was promoted a lot in the South and not seen as highbrow art or entertainment, or the more of the working class man, right? So anything, if you can, something what people can identify. Oh, I don't like your boss. I like to drink, redneck kind of, white. I don't like the word white trash. I don't like it, but those are the aesthetics what they were going towards,
Yeah, I get
or
what you're saying.
that is very identifiable. Like that is very relatable to a lot of people in America or white America, right?
Right.
And that's who they latched to. Looking at Crime Time, what is Bianca's Belair's husband called? I forgot what they do.
Um, the Street Profits.
Street Profits. Got they have to be street. What Jimmy Usos have to like the penitentiary.
Yeah.
So and looking at what you call it, like Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Biggie, they're like the slightly minstrelly, nerdy kind of. So it's like, what is acceptable black? Because as a wrestler, because sometimes black guys can be too threatening. So when someone like Bobby Lash, oh God, why I can't say these names, like I don't know
Bobby Lashley.
what's his name, Bobby
Lashley.
who is Lashley, sorry, who is a formidable force, or Apollo Crews and stuff like that. They don't know how to deal with these big, strong black men wrestlers, because apparently Vince like big guys, right? So if they like the big guys, use them properly. But
Yeah.
in middle of America, you can't see big black guys, too much losing. I mean, too much winning in these wrestling streets, right? So to me, it's just like sometimes I have this dilemma in my head, like, am I blaming Vince McMahon or his leadership and the booking? But then I'm thinking, Vince McMahon just responds to the environment and the culture. So I think the culture has to change, just like how the woman revolution happened, where Gen Z and millennials was like, actually, you can't just give Brie Bella and Nikki Bella 1 minute in the match. It's a bit too much. And also, they was getting popular on on E and stuff like that, and being like the Kardashians of the wrestling. So more eyeballs. So just through reputational risk, that's when the things start to change with wrestling. And I think if there's more reputational risk of showing WWE, like, you have to meaningfully use black people properly without all these random stereotypes. You don't have to always do hip hop. I don't always have to talk about street. I don't always have to talk about penitentiary, which a lot of white middle America would identify with. We shall see. Like, what happened to what's his name? Sorry, that's it. What's his name? Cedric the Entertainer? No, Cedric the Entertainer.
Cedric Alexander.
That's it. What happened to him? Is he still around?
Yeah, they're still around, but they're not being booked right, because when this is what you said was bad booking, right? When the Hurt Business, when it was
normal
Bobby.
black man with a normal black wife who can just do. His wife is a wrestler. I forgot what her name is.
I forgot to. I can't think of it right now.
She's not in the WWE, is she?
I'm not sure. I gotta look it up.
Yeah, sorry about that. See, I'm going from memory. I can't remember. I used to know these facts, but I'm out of the loop. So why can't someone like Cedric Alexander, just without no, attachment to what the thug, a minstrel, or whatever, or why can't you just be normal? Just win and be booked properly. I know that he's like the cruiserweight and this, but still.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's not being booked right.
Mm.
When it was actually working for them, they was with Bobby Lashley, and they had the stable called the Hurt Business. That was perfect. They was tag team. Him and Shelton Benjamin was tag team champions, and then all of a sudden
Actually,
they broke them up. It's like it happened too soon.
they
They
were
was
too
very
powerful.
popular. They were too popular, and they broke up the stable. And Bobby Lashley went on to be champion. And him and Shelton Benjamin lost the titles, and then they haven't been the same since.
I don't know how they're using Shelton Benjamin because him and Brock Lesnar was supposed to be on par in the day, and they're just.
But he had a long run
They
as
had
champion.
what's that guy called? The one who tripped over the ring. Huh?
I say he had a long run as
Say sorry.
champion. Bobby Lashley had a long run as champion for almost damn near a year, and that was very
Fair
shocking
enough.
because I didn't expect that. I didn't expect him being champion for a whole year. I thought it was gonna be like 3 months or lose that in the next pay per view like it normally is.
When was that?
Yeah. He lost it.
When did he have his run?
The whole last year.
Okay.
Him
Me
him
and my skepticism.
him and Roman Reigns had the longest run last year. Actually, Roman is still
I was just
going, but
gonna
he
be
lost it.
okay. Fair enough.
Mhm.
I was gonna be very skeptic and like, oh, after George Floyd, they're like, oh God, I gotta respond to social needs.
No, that was way after.
Let's probably no.
No, that was way after
Okay, so
George
they're
Floyd.
genuinely okay. Cool. No, so see, you see me, So I'm trying to learn from you to give people a chance, but it's just I've just done so much. So yeah, I want to look at it with fresh eyes and just take it for the art form for what it is. So I'm going to try to see. I think if Naomi start winning properly, okay, the women's. I don't know how you feel, but do you think the women's tag team title mean a lot? Because I tried to give it a chance, looking at the tag teams
Yeah.
when it first started, but
Um. With the tag team. I'm sorry, he's breaking up. Go ahead.
much. Sorry.
No, you good. I hear you now. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying the title. Is that used properly? Because when I was watching in wrestling, I'm not sure if that was used to its full
Um.
effect.
When it comes to the women tag team titles, is basically a waste of time. But they have a huge roster, so for all of them to get on camera time, I think is a good addition to the show because especially Monday nights
Yeah.
because you get 3 hours of wrestling. So I think that's a good to give the ladies some more time and work with each other and especially the money they making. So I think it's good for the women's division, but overall, it's a waste of time. The tag team wrestling is not what it used to be.
Yeah, man. I used to get so excited, man. I used to get so excited. And New Day and the Usos, I used to love when they do their things and
Yeah, that's a chemistry right there. That's something that can't be,
it
you
is
know,
what it is.
copy.
Yeah. So thank you for indulging me for talking about wrestling because I haven't talked about, as you can tell, wrestling. You got my years of wrestling. I haven't talked about it for a long time. So I'm inspired to look at WrestleMania and see what's happening. So Stone Cold's back, right? So
Stone Cold's
Undertaker
back
retired last
Saturday.
year.
Yeah, he's going in the Hall of Fame this year, the night before
Oh, is
WrestleMania.
it?
So
Okay, so
yeah,
I might watch it for that. I might watch it for that.
yeah, it's him.
Um,
It's him. The Steiner brothers are in there. Carmella, not
what?
Carmella.
They got them. How did they agree that?
I
Okay,
don't
I
know.
thought
It was
someone
shocking.
did not care about
It was very, very
both
shocking.
of
When I
them.
read that, when it popped up my phone as a notification on Google News saying the Steiner brothers had been inducted to the Hall of Fame. I was like, how the hell did they let that happen? Because Scott Steiner, he's been talking negatively about the WWE for years. For years. I don't know how they made that happen. I don't think Vince took that any personal to Scott just run talking shit. But I don't know how that happened. I don't know. Probably Triple H probably pull some strings, but I don't know. Scott Steiner though doesn't like Triple H. I don't know. Stephanie McMahon called him. I don't know how they got Scott Steiner to agree to go in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if he's gonna show up, but the Steiner brothers going in the Hall of Fame.
I don't
Vader's
know how
going.
they even look. I don't know how they even look like these days. I don't know. If, I need to see. Okay, cool. So I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited to watch these type
Right.
of things now. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the main event? I'm sure Run is up there.
Uh,
What's the main event for?
the first night main event, I think is Roman and
Excuse me. Hold on. It's going to be on the 2 days.
it's 2 days event.
2 days.
It's 2 days event. Yeah,
Oh, oh.
it's gonna be a Saturday and Sunday because you can't do everything in one night anymore. It's too many matches.
So they just skim it down. Stop getting more advertising. Quality over quantity.
With them, is a lot of
You
money.
see, Vince. Ah,
Vince. Vince is listen. Why make WrestleMania one night? I can make it 2 nights and get both checks off it. That's what it meant. That's the way they think. And it's too many matches. So the first night main event is gonna be Roman and not Roman. It's gonna be I think it's gonna be I think Charlotte, Charlotte and Sasha is gonna be the main event. And I think on the second show, that's where we're gonna have two world titles matches. With that's for Roman versus Brock. No, that's one because they no, that's one match because they're gonna unify the titles. So whoever win that match is gonna be on Raw and SmackDown.
okay. This sounds interesting. I need to take a peek
Oh yeah,
through
definitely.
my ways of looking at wrestling. Okay.
Hey, if you need my login, just let me know. I got you. I got
Okay.
Peacock. So
Okay.
shoot me an email.
Okay. I'm
Like,
gonna
listen, because you a couple hours ahead of me. So all I gotta do is shoot you my login and you go watch it.
that's good because sometimes you have to find those links quickly before the WWE's like, oh, it's copied that done for copyright. I was like, nope,
Well, as long as it's not
I'm not paying for
broadcasting
this.
on social media, not like that. You good.
Yeah.
Um, let's get to you being a jeweler. So how did you
Yeah.
find it?
Yeah, that thing.
How
Yeah, forgot about
how how did you get in the jewelry business and how did it become something you're very passionate about?
Okay, so in my I was a bit late going into jewelry, so I did it in my 20s. So I did a silversmithing course, like how to make a silver ring, like a small course in the evening. I love making a silver ring, and then I just started doing more courses and started to learn about jewelry ever since. That was about 10 years ago. So yeah, I just did one course and I just made that ring and I fell in love with it. That ring looked horrible, by the way, but I just loved the process of making that ring. And I just started, and I learned in the jewelry quarter in London called Hatton Garden. I did a few like vocational courses about how to, your bench skills about how to make jewelry, manufacturing and jewelry design, and just took it from there. I think now I make, half my business is actually ready to wear. So e-commerce, you just buy and I ship what I make, and then the other half is like bespoke, like bridal, or if you wanted some cufflinks, if you wanted a wedding ring, engagement rings, anything which is in fine jewelry, platinum, gold, gemstones, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, whatever. Um, that's what I do. Yeah, so I love it ever since. Just, jewelry means love, wearable art, your personality, you're celebrating a moment, you're trying to, strengthen lots of relationships. So yeah, jewelry means a lot to me, and just want to spread more joy through jewelry.
Nice, nice. That's very cool. My next question to you is, being an activist, how did you get into being an activist, and what is some of the things that you're passionate about of overcoming certain issues in the community over there?
I'm very passionate. Sometimes I try to. I think I have said I've been an activist, or but I just like to do things. I'm very practical. So I don't like the mentality of some people might have, oh, the white man done this to me, or racism and all this. I'm not saying racism doesn't happen. I don't want to say that, but what I'm saying is like, try not to have this victim mentality. I always try to look at what can I do to help people or improve my life, and not to wait for anybody or not to wait for an organization. Because I saw a lot of people look on social media like a company, oh, are you going to do something? Like, what are you going to do? You know?
Mm,
So that's the way how I see it. So I'm always passionate. As I talked about wrestling, I love the art form, but when I see something wrong, I'm like, ah, I gently call it out. And that's in the jewelry trade or whatever place I work in. It's just like it's important for people to find their voices or try to help people whose voices who are not heard.
okay. What are some issues over there? Some things that you actually been activating for that we here in America does not know on a daily basis of what y'all going through as a black community in the UK.
But I think we talked about it earlier. I think it's quite similar things what our African American cousins go through. Very similar. The only thing is just the guns is a bit, we don't really have guns. Well, legal guns. So not many black people getting shot to death and stuff like that. No, hair discrimination. It's just quite similar. It's quite similar.
Gotcha. All right. So, tell us about your podcast, Black Creative Handbook.
Like great Amber. So I did that a couple of years ago. Still going. I've done about 60 odd episodes. It's just really trying to help black creatives to get from A to B, how to help them thrive and to survive in these creative fields, and really supporting black businesses and creatives because I feel like sometimes it's really hard to be a creative in general, no matter what nationality or what ethnicity you're from. But sometimes when you're a black creative, there's different nuances you have to navigate. There's certain things which is different to our white counterparts. Some of us have family tax, I would say. That means sometimes you always have to give money to family or people are dependent on you. You're not always in the best social economic status. You don't have like generational wealth. So there's so much pressure sometimes in black families to do jobs or do things what they don't want to do because of family pressure or social economic pressure. So I remember when I was at school, I was really good at drama. And I took my drama equivalent high school exams early and I was really good at it. And I wanted to go to university and do it. And my mom said no. People didn't want me to do it. My psychology teacher was very discouraging, like, don't do it, don't do it. And they just want me to get safe jobs. And I tried doing safe jobs for years and still sometimes my joy. And but I just feel like if your mom and dad tell you have to be a doctor, lawyer, or dentist, and if you want to get out of it and you want to transition, this would be a really good one, good podcast for you. If you don't have much creative friends and you want like a sounding board about how to be more creative and develop your skills, it's a great podcast for you. If you just want to hear about black creators all over the world just smashing it and get inspired, this podcast is for you. And if you're white and you want to look at black people and listen to what all the glory and trend setting things what they do, you can listen to it. It's up to you. But it's really catering to like black creators around the world who just want to create and do great things because black creatives set the trends and give things a bit of a zhuzh.
Right. My last question for you, before we end things off. What is next for you? What's your future plans?
So even though I'm a jeweler, I really am a multidisciplinary artist. So even jewelry is my main medium, what I do. I really want to look at the visual art. So how can I use jewelry in a very socially engaging practice? Meaning, how can I use jewelry in exhibitions, in as or like a tool to create different conversations? So this week I had my one of my first films being selected for the London Independent Film Awards. It was shown this Saturday, and that looks at Black British womanhood and jewelry and adornment and legacy and heritage. I've working on an exhibition in London using jewelry as public art, as wearable art, and looking at the relationship between cancer and jewelry. So there's different ways we can use jewelry just to encourage dialogues and to reclaim narratives and just to remove some of the social taboos. So I want to do more of that. And also I want to expand my jewelry business and I want to expand the Black Creative Handbook community. So I'm very excited about that because, you know, when you get to speak to people like you and very line-minded, we could talk about wrestling for like 2 hours. You know, those type of things. So I'm very intentional about how I spend my time and who I want to connect with, and it's really really helpful.
Absolutely. Drop a saucy bomb for Kassandra real quick. We appreciate you for being on today's show. I know it's kind of late in the UK, so thanks
Great
a
to hear.
hundred million times to you. And it's only the beginning. There's gonna be many more conversations between us. Most definitely. Let's going forward support each other. And all your podcast link and all your jewelry social media and everything pages is in the link below. So Saucy Nation, make sure you go support Kassandra and show her love. Shout out to our sponsors, Click A Vodka, Holistic Remedies. Shout out to my co-hosts can be today, Dad, Vernice, Mac. Shout out to the whole Saucy Nation. Thank y'all for supporting us. Make sure go and subscribe to all the streaming platforms we on. We appreciate everybody for watching today, and we see you on the next one on episode 15. Peace and love, y'all.
Thank you.